Vayachel, and he assembled. Exodus chapter 35. Then Moses assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel, and said unto them, These are the words which the Lord hath commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days thou shalt work, but the 7th day thou shalt have unto you to be holy, a Sabbath of rest unto the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work therein shall die. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout all your habitations on the Sabbath day. Again Moses spake unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord commandeth, saying, Take from among you an offering unto the Lord. Whosoever is of a willing heart, let him bring his offering to the Lord, namely gold and silver and brass, also blue silk and purple and scarlet, and fine linen and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, and badger skins with shittim wood, also oil for light, and spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense, and onyx stones and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. And all the wise-hearted among you shall come and make all that the Lord hath commanded, that is, the tabernacle, the pavilion thereof, and his covering, and his taches, and his boards, his bars, his pillars, and his sockets, the ark and the bars thereof, the mercy seat and the veil that covereth it, the table and the bars of it, and all the instruments thereof, and the showbread, also the candlestick of light and his instrument, and his lamps with the oil for the light, likewise the altar of perfume and his bars, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the veil of the door at the entering in of the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offering with its brazen grate, his bars and all his instruments, the laver and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars and his sockets, and the veil of the gate of the court, the pins of the tabernacle, and the pins of the court with their cords, the ministering garments to minister in the holy place, and the holy garments of Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons, that they may minister in the priest's office. And all the congregation of the children of Israel departed from the presence of Moses, and every one whose heart encouraged him, and every one whose spirit made him willing, came and brought an offering to the Lord for the work of the tabernacle of the congregation, and for all his uses, and for the holy garments. Both men and women, as many as were of free hearted, came and brought taches, and earrings, and rings, and bracelets. All were jewels of gold, and every one that offered an offering of gold unto the Lord. Every man also which had blue silk, and purple, and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, and badger skins brought them. All that offered an oblation of silver and of brass brought the offering unto the Lord. And every one that had shittim wood for any manner of work of the ministration brought it. And all the women that were wise-hearted did spin with their hands, and brought the spun work, even the blue silk, and the purple and scarlet, and fine linen. Likewise all the women whose hearts were moved with knowledge spun goat's hair. And the rulers brought onyx stones, and stones to be set in the ephod, and in the breastplate. Also spice and oil for light, and for the anointing oil, and for the sweet perfume. Every man and woman of the children of Israel, whose hearts moved them willingly to bring for all the work which the Lord had commanded them to make by the hand of Moses, brought a freewill offering unto the Lord. Then Moses said unto the children of Israel, Behold, the Lord hath called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and hath filled him with an excellent spirit of wisdom, of understanding, and of knowledge in all manner of work, to find out curious works, to work in gold, and in silver, and in brass, and in graving stones to set them, and in carving of wood, even to make any manner of fine work. He hath put in his heart that he may teach others, both he and Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan. Them hath he filled with wisdom of heart, to work all manner of cunning embroidered, and needlework, in blue silk, and in purple, scarlet and in fine linen and weaving, even to do all manner of work with subtle inventions. Exodus chapter 36. Then wrought Bezalel and Aholiab and all cunning men to whom the Lord gave wisdom and understanding to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that the Lord had commanded. For Moses had called Bezalel and Aholiab and all the wise-hearted men, in whose hearts the Lord had given wisdom, even as many as hearts encouraged to come unto the work, to work it. And they received of Moses all the offering which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the sanctuary, to make it. Also they brought still unto him free gifts every morning. So all the wise men that wrought all the holy work came every man from his work which they wrought, and spake to Moses, saying, People bring too much, and more than enough for the use of the work which the Lord hath commanded to be made. Then Moses gave a commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the host, saying, Let neither man nor woman prepare any more work for the oblations of the sanctuary. So the people were stayed from offering, for the stuff they had was sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much. All the cunning men, therefore, among the workmen, made for the temple 10 curtains of fine twined linen, of blue silk and purple and scarlet. Cherubims of broidered work made they upon them. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits, and the curtains were all of one size. And he coupled 5 curtains together, and another 5 coupled he together. He made strings of blue silk by the edge of one curtain, and the selvage of the coupling. Likewise he made of the side of the other curtain, and the selvage of the second coupling. 50 strings made he in the one curtain, and 50 strings made he in the edge of the other curtain, which was in the second coupling. The strings were set one against the other. After he made 50 taches of gold, and coupled the curtains one to another with the taches. So was it one tabernacle. Also he made curtains of goat's hair for the covering upon the tabernacle. He made them to the number of 11 curtains. The length of one curtain had 30 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains were of one size. And he coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. Also he made 50 strings upon the edge of one curtain, and the selvage of the coupling. And 50 strings made he upon the edge of the other curtain, in the second coupling. He made also 50 taches of brass to couple the covering, that it might be one. And he made a covering upon the pavilion of ram skins dyed red, and a covering of badger skins above. Likewise he made the boards of the tabernacle of shittim wood to stand up. The length of a board was 10 cubits, and the breadth of one board was 1.5 cubits. One board had 2 tenons, set in order as the feet of a ladder, one against another. Thus made he for all the boards of the tabernacle. So he made 20 boards for the south side of the tabernacle, even full south. And 40 sockets of silver made he under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons. Also for the other side of the tabernacle, toward the north, he made 20 boards, and there 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. Likewise towards the west side of the tabernacle he made 6 boards, and 2 boards made he in the corners of the tabernacle for either side. And they were joined beneath, and likewise were made sure above with a ring. Thus he did to both in the corners. So there were 8 boards, and there 16 sockets of silver, under every board 2 sockets. After he made bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards in the other side of the tabernacle, 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle on the side toward the west. He made the middle bar to shoot through the boards from the one end to the other. He overlaid also the boards with gold, and made their rings of gold for places for the bars, and covered the bars with gold. Moreover, he made a veil of blue silk and purple, and of scarlet, and of fine twined linen. With cherubims of broidered work made he it, and made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim, and overlaid them with gold, whose hooks also were of gold. And he cast for them 4 sockets of silver. He made an hanging for the tabernacle door, of blue silk and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen, and needlework, and the 5 pillars of it with their hooks, and overlaid their chapters and their fillets with gold, and their 5 sockets were of brass. Exodus chapter 37. After this, Bezalel made the ark of shittim wood, 2 cubits and a half long, and a cubit and a half broad, and a cubit and a half high, and overlaid it with fine gold within and without, and made a crown of gold to it round about, and cast for it 4 rings of gold for the 4 corners of it. That is, 2 rings for the one side of it, and 2 rings for the other side thereof. Also he made bars of shittim wood, and covered them with gold, and put the bars and the rings by the sides of the ark, to bear the ark. He made the mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubims of gold upon the 2 ends of the mercy seat, even of work beaten with the hammer made he them, 1 cherub on the one end, and another cherub on the other end. Of the mercy seat made he the cherubims at the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, and covered the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces were towards one another. Towards the mercy seat were the faces of the cherubims. Also he made the table of shittim wood, 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit and the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height of it. And he overlaid it with fine gold, and made thereto a crown of gold round about. Also he made thereto a border of an handbreadth round about, and made upon the border a crown of gold round about. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold, put the rings in the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. Against the border there were rings, as places for the bars to bear the table. He made the bars of shittim wood, and covered them with gold, to bear the table. Also he made the instruments for the table of pure gold, dishes for it, and incense cups, and goblets for it, and coverings for it, wherewith it should be covered. Likewise he made the candlestick of pure gold, a work beaten out with a hammer made he the candlestick, and his shaft, and his branch, and his bowls, and his knops, and his flowers were of one piece. And 6 branches came out of the sides thereof, 3 branches out of the candlestick out of one side of it, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side of it. In one branch 3 bowls, made like almonds, a knop and a flower, and another branch 3 bowls made like almonds, a knop and a flower. And so throughout the 6 branches that proceeded out of the candlestick. And upon the candlestick were 4 bowls, after the fashion of almonds, the knops thereof and the flowers thereof. That is, under every 2 branches a knop made thereof, and a knop under the 2nd branch thereof, and a knop under the 3rd branch thereof, according to the 6 branches coming out of it. Their knops and their branches were of the same. It was all one beaten work of pure gold. And he made for it 7 lamps with the snuffers, and snuff dishes thereof of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold made he it, with all the instruments thereof. Furthermore he made the perfume altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it a cubit. It was square, and 2 cubits high. The horns thereof were of the same. He covered it with pure gold, both the top and sides thereof round about, and the horns of it. He made unto it a crown of gold round about, and he made 2 rings of gold for it, under the crown thereof in the 2 corners of the 2 sides thereof, to put bars in it for to bear it therewith. Also he made the bars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with pure gold. And he made the holy anointing oil, and the sweet pure incense, after the apothecary's art. Exodus chapter 38. Also he made the altar of the burnt offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits breadth thereof. It was square, and 3 cubits high. And he made unto it horns of the 4 corners thereof. The horns thereof were of the same, and he overlaid it with brass. Also he made all the instruments of the altar, the ashpans, and the besoms, and the basins, and the fleshhooks, and the censers, and all the instruments thereof, made he of brass. Moreover he made a brazen grate, wrought like a net, to the altar, under the compass of it, beneath, in the midst of it, and cast 4 rings of brass for the 4 ends of the grate, to put bars in. And he made the bars of shittim wood, and covered them with brass, the which bars he put in the rings on the sides of the altar, to bear it withal, and made it hollow within the boards. Also he made the laver of brass, and the foot of it of brass, of the glasses of the women that did assemble and came together at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Finally he made the court of the south side, full south. The hanging of the court were of fine twined linen, having 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their brazen sockets 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. On the north side the hangings were 100 cubits, their pillars 20, and their sockets of brass 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And the west side also were hangings of 50 cubits, their 10 pillars with their 10 sockets, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. Toward the east side, full east, were hangings of 50 cubits. The hangings of the one side were 15 cubits, their 3 pillars and their 3 sockets. And on the other side of the court gate, on both sides were hangings of 15 cubits, with their 3 pillars and their 3 sockets. All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen, but the sockets of the pillars were of brass, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and the covering of their chapiters of silver. And all the pillars of the court were hooped about with silver. He made also the hanging of the gate of the court of needlework, blue silk and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen, even 20 cubits long, and 5 cubits in height and breadth, like the hangings of the court. And their pillars were 4, and their sockets 4, of brass, their hooks of silver, and the covering of the chapiters, and their fillets of silver. But all the pins of the tabernacle and of the court round about were brass.